right, earlier today, Vice President Kamala Harris went to an abortion mill in Minnesota. This marks the first time that a sitting vice president has toured a facility for killing babies. Friends, let that sink in. Our vice president today toured a facility killing babies. In case there was any doubt whatsoever whether pushing abortion is the central theme in the Biden reelection campaign or not. In fact, just remember, Biden himself kicked off his reelection campaign earlier this year at an event that he had a giant banner behind him reading Restore Road. Restore Roe. Listen, they are making this the issue for them. And given the Democrats' extreme position on this, abortion all the way to birth, extreme position, while they call those of us who are pro-life extremist, they are going right down the Biden reelection playbook. And the question for us is, how should pro-life Christians respond? And will Republicans go on the offense to promote the sanctity of life? Well, joining me now to discuss this is Christina Bennett. She's a pro-life missionary who has served in various leadership roles for pro-life organizations. She is presently a correspondent for Live Action. Christina, welcome to Washington Watch. It's an honor to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Well, listen, I played this clip at the beginning of the program, but I don't know if you saw it. I want to play it again for you and get your reaction. This is from Vice President Harris and her remarks today at an abortion facility.
Many of you have asked, why am I here at this facility in particular? And I will tell you, it is because right now in our country we are facing a very serious health crisis. And the crisis is affecting many, many people in our country, most of whom are, frankly, silently suffering.
Wow. Your reaction to that and the overall visit of the Vice President today?
I would ask her, does 60 million dead babies count as a crisis? Does 20 million dead African-American children since Roe versus Wade in 1973 count as a crisis? And the millions of women who are suffering because of the pain of abortion, the millions of men who are also suffering in silence because the pain of abortion, does that also count as a crisis? It's disappointing. It's sad to see her visit an abortion facility and pretend that that is an organization that is helping women. In reality, that is an organization that has led to the deaths of thousands and thousands of children. And quite frankly, I'm embarrassed just to know that she, as our vice president, would support the abortion industry in this way. It's troubling.
It is so troubling. And listen, I think what you say, Christina, is spot on. The true crisis is the death of millions upon millions of babies. And now this administration and this whole party, quite frankly, continues to celebrate it. You know, we've seen the president's poll numbers sagging, and especially they're sagging among young voters. Do you think that this whole push for abortion, doubling down on it like they are right now, is their response to sagging poll numbers?
I would hope so, in part because I know that many Americans like myself, we vote pro-life. We want pro-life elected officials. We value life from the womb to the tomb. And we don't want to see our elected officials going to abortion clinics and parading around and pretending that that's a charity that's aiding women. In reality, we know that that industry has stolen so much from us as a community, and particularly the Black community. And so I would hope that voters would be aware of those things, and that come November that they would vote pro-life with pro-life convictions.
Absolutely. And I think there's something to be said, perhaps at least, for the campaign here, the Biden reelect campaign, sending Harris and not President Biden on this visit to the abortion mill. Do you think, what do you make of that?
It's absolutely strategic because the abortion industry targets women of color primarily, That has been the way it's been since the beginning with Margaret Sanger in the Negro Project in the 1930s and 40s. Planned Parenthood and the abortion industry was founded on racism and eugenics and population control, and they have ever since targeted women of color. And so it's no mistake that she went there pretending to be an ally and hoping to really deceive and manipulate millions of women of color to think that this is an organization that supports our community, and it does not. Couldn't be any farther from the truth.
As you've well stated, over 20 million from the Black community is staggering numbers. Now, in the midst of all of this, Christina, the Democrats continue to accuse Republicans, pro-lifers, of being extreme on this issue, but nothing could be further from the truth.
I think it's extreme to dismember a child in the womb. I think it's extreme for a so-called doctor to piece apart a little baby's body and to look for an arm and to look for a leg after an abortion. What I want to ask the VP is, how extensive was this tour? Did you go to the medical waste facility afterwards? Did you go to the incinerator? Did you see what happens to these little precious babies when their bodies are turned into dust and ashes and they're incinerated? I don't think she was willing to look that deep into the issue, but that's really what's happening here.
It really is. And this is a time where Republicans, pro-lifers, we've got to stand on this issue, not run from it. We've got to embrace the fact that we are the party of life. Agreed?
Oh, absolutely. We have to vote pro-life and without compromise. It's important for us to understand and to stand on this principle that a life is a life. Whether the baby is 6 weeks in the womb or 16 weeks in the womb, they are all deserving of protection, no matter what stage of development this child is at. And we have to make that message very clear to all those running for office that we stand for life from conception all the way to natural death.
Christina Bennett, I can't thank you enough for joining us on Washington Watch, all the work that you do and live action, all of you, fantastic. Thank you for joining us on Washington Watch. It's been an honor to have you on the program.
God bless you. Thank you for having me.